Hello, welcome to another episode on Talk Architecture Podcast with your host, Naziaty Mohd Yaacob. And I have something great for you and lined up, which is on the perspectives by women architects on architecture and the practice and education and all that. And it focuses specifically on leadership roles for women architects. And a lot of it could be very good tips and advice for mid-level architects to shall we say, break the glass ceiling, if there's any, in the industry. And things to do with gender roles and issues surrounding women in architecture, in which I'm starting it off with a very interesting conversation that I had with architect Eleena Jamil. And I'd like to do an introduction for this episode, like a teaser, for you to anticipate part 1 and part 2 episode, an interview with architect Eleena Jamil on leadership roles for women architects. So I'd like to introduce you to Eleena Jamil, which I am going to reintroduce as well in the first part. But here's the deal. Eleena Jamil is a Malaysian architect from Penang and graduated from the Welsh School of Architecture, Cardiff University in the UK. And she joined the Cardiff Architecture faculty as a teaching assistant while completing her Masters of Philosophy and PhD postgraduate research. Her PhD thesis, titled Rethinking Modernism, the Sugden House and the Mother's House, examined the concept of ordinariness and vernacular imagery as alternatives to the reductive limitations of modern architecture. Very much, Eleena is also a theorist and a philosopher in this way, and it shows through her work. So she established her eponymous architectural practice in Kuala Lumpur in 2005, focusing on developing buildings within the context of Malaysia and Southeast Asia. Recently, she published a book titled An Essence of Place, Making Local Architecture, which emphasizes the importance of rooting projects to place by way of exploring the experiential potential of form, material and construction, and the concern for the environmental, social, and economic aspects of sustainability. Very much, Eleena has a philosophy to deal with her architectural practice, and being there and experienced top women architect in Malaysia, we would like to know about what are the issues surrounding women in architecture in Malaysia and elsewhere. And there are a list of questions that I will forward to her to do with how women architects deal with discrimination, if any, in the workplace, or resistance or bias when stepping into leadership roles in architecture. Some of these questions come from people whom I know before, ex-students who are at the mid-level stage and trying to break the glass ceiling. And they ask questions regarding the struggles that women architects have to fit into the male-dominated architecture industry. And we can listen to what Eleena has to say, whether she agrees that the industry is male-dominated, and things to do with how to negotiate this seemingly domination that is happening. And we will be talking about the attributes that women have to the role of architect and how the women could negotiate problems to do with the culture that has been created since architecture school and evolved into architectural practice. Things like work-life balance and things to do with inequality as well. And we shall hear those insights. And I think it's a good set of 2 episodes to start the ball rolling. We will have other women architects coming in, giving their take on leadership roles in for women architects. And I'm really, really looking forward to the rest of them. So this is just a teaser. And I would like to share some of the findings that I got from talking with Eleena Jamil. Things to do with specific experiences that she have when dealing as a younger architect, and things that she has to endure, and the fact that a clear vision of running your own studio is needed if you want to do so. It could be other things that you want to do. You want to work in a big company, or you want to have your own studio, but you need to have a clear vision. And success in what you deem to be a success is different measures rather than just one specific yardstick. And it's important to know what drives you and what you want or need to excel in. So you could get more excited being in a big company rather than doing on your own. So those are choices that you can make. Of course, some of these issues for non-women architects, you would think, oh, this is similar to what they are going through. Fine, it's not a problem. There are some things that are nuances or not so obvious thing that women architects face more than non-women. So for women, it might be a bit more difficult than for non-women. So we have this idea that when you're more of a senior, people will listen to you. And Eleena and I did discuss about that, but we're not going to go into that in more detail, and that will be picked up later with the other people that I'm going to interview. So in a way, what I gathered is that it is important for the change of mindset in the architecture industry to happen with regard to work-life balance, for example, and the need to change the culture. And maybe institutions such as Pertubuhan Architect Malaysia, or PAM, and Lembaga Architect Malaysia, LAM, could start looking at this with proper research rather than just doing forums and leaving it at that, and proper research that is sustainable and can be used in the long term. So these are some things that we discuss. Why the need for having to work long hours and getting stressed, and an environment that is not really protecting or not really fair in some instance, where it could be emotionally charged by people who think that that's the way they want to control proceedings. So is that work culture correct? So this sort of statistics of maybe women architecture or women in architecture opt out of architecture practice. We're looking at starting at part 1, part 2, part 3, entry level, mid-level, and seniors. Are there going to be less and less women compared to men at the end of certain of the stages? So why is that? So there's not really much research into that, and it's really needed. So these are going to be discussed, and we hope that you would find all these things to be beneficial or interesting, or something that you yourself would like to research more on. And we would continue this discussion, a very important conversation to be had. And we are happy in Talk Architecture podcast to do so and to get people interested with this conversation on leadership roles for women architects. So watch out for the first episode and the second episode with architect Eleena Jamil. Thank you very much.